In this episode, I'm going to share with you guys how easy it will be to shoot basic portraits with just one light. Hi guys, this is Jayzee, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. Okay, so we're doing something new today. Instead of me shooting, I want to be able to teach someone who's relatively new in flash photography on how easy it is to set up a portrait lighting studio wherever it is that he wants to shoot. Hey guys, this is Jayzee. Jayzee is a relatively newbie when it comes to flash photography, correct?
Almost nothing.
Okay, so Jayzee, the first thing that we need to do is set up your backdrop. So what we have here is our portable backdrop. This is what I use whenever I go on location and I want to take like one tight portrait or something. You could do this anywhere. Here you go. Check it out. So you open it up. It has two sides, a black side and a white side. For the purposes of today's lecture, we're going to be using the black side. We have to decide now what equipment we're going to be using. And today we're going to use the most basic of all equipment. First, okay, this is the light stand that I take around. Okay, this is a portable light stand from Photix. This one's a carbon fiber version, but I'm sure there's a cheaper version, but it's so small it fits in my luggage. That's why I love it. This is the Photix Padat 200 carbon. And it's very, very small. See? But the nice thing about it is that even though it's small, it's still high, right? Then we have this one. This is called the Cerberus. Okay? The Cerberus attaches here. This one becomes the mount of your flash. The Cerberus comes with a Bowens mount in front so that you can install most of the modifiers that are Bowens mount. Are you familiar with Bowens mount? Well, Bowens mount is it's like a three-prong mount that's used worldwide on standard modifiers from different brands. You could use that. You could use that mount here. So now with this particular setup, it's very easy for you to use like the more expensive modifiers like octabanks and strip lights and all those other things. So this thing is very, very flexible. We won't be using any of those modifiers today because they're quite expensive, and I want you to learn from the most basic of modifiers, which is this one here. That's a 85 cm reflective umbrella. You have an option to be able to install that umbrella here, and then you mount it here. But before we even install this, I forgot. This one has an option for something like this. This is a diffuser in front. So install your diffuser first, here, over. Then put that one, it's okay. Then put this one here again. Okay, so my rule of thumb is the umbrella should always be, so if you're gonna be mounting your flash here, the edge of the umbrella should be in line where the flash ends. You have to move the umbrella in. More or less. There we go. I think that should be good. Then maybe you could tilt. This is the way to tilt it. Tilt it up for a while. There. Okay? All right. Then you can install this one. That's a diffuser. This is a diffuser. This will help make the light softer. Then one thing to note, especially when you're using the smaller light stands, is that the weight of where the weight of the flash is, that's where one of the feet of the stand should be pointing so that you've got a good base. Or else it might tip over if you put it here and maybe twist this one like that. If it's too heavy here, there's a tendency for it to tip over, or if it's a bit windy outside, it's gonna tip over for sure. So the safest way is to have it there, pointing towards the heavier side. Okay? So let's bring this out so you can see the Cerberus. Okay, let's bring that out first. Flash that I'm gonna make you use today is the Photix L160. The nice thing about this flash, it's already got a built-in receiver. Are you familiar with receivers? Okay, receivers and triggers is a way for the camera to be able to talk to the flash. It's the only way for you to be able to trigger the flash. That's why it's called a trigger. This is the trigger. This is your flash with a built-in receiver that this one talks to. Otherwise, the older versions, you'll have to buy a separate receiver and a separate trigger. And the beauty of all these things now is that you can control the power of your flash through this one without having to physically go here. You mount the flash here. You pull it, you mount it, put it, there we go. Nice thing about these things also, if it were a cold shoe, the bulk of the weight will be on this one. So there are tendencies for your flash to break off. But since now that it's clamped here, no matter what you do, it's not going to fall off. I've destroyed a lot of flash units with those old cold shoes here. Okay? So now you put this one over. Oh, but, so now your flash, set it to its widest. Look at the zoom. Most flash units have an option for zoom. You set it at its widest. With this flash, it's 20 millimeter, so that it spreads. And you're able to use the entire modifier to make your light softer. Look at this one. It's here. So twist it so that it's on top. There we go, okay? But there's another secret there. These flash units normally come with this one. You know what these things are?
It's a diffuser.
It's a diffuser. What does a diffuser do? It spreads the light even more. So if you put it here, while it's inside, it will spread your light even more. Because what we're trying to do is mimic the original strobes. Strobes usually go at 360 degrees. The light is circular, so the moment you put it in here, it's just going to maximize everything. So with this flash units are designed just for directional light. That's why we're trying to create a multi-directional light coming from a flash that's directional in nature. Lock it in place, and you're good. And then this one, you put on top of your camera. I usually have this in my kit. This is a standard reflector, just in case you need an additional source of light. There. Go ahead, open it. So you've got a silver and white side, and this reflector I like because it's got a grip. So you can hold on to it. You don't need an assistant or anything. So while you're shooting with one hand, you could hold on to this one. This entire kit, Jayzee, fits in this. So this is all you need to bring. This too. Because the light stand you could carry the light stand together with the umbrella anywhere you go, and this is it. Okay, so now we'll wait for our model to be able to put this in action. I'll be teaching Jayzee on how to control your flash and how to shoot with flash photography and to create a basic portrait with this setup. So now that you've got everything set up, Jayzee, I'm going to make you use my camera. This is the A7R Mark III, my favorite portrait camera from Sony, and an 85mm 1.4. This is also one of my favorite portrait lenses. So this trigger, remember we talked about it earlier, it controls your flash. So you put it on top here. This is your hot shoe, okay? This trigger will work with any unit, meaning with any brand, because it's a non-TTL trigger. You can control the power of your flash without having to physically go to your flash. Hold on to this. Come on, Lou. Lou will be our subject for today while I'm teaching Jayzee how to shoot this basic one light portrait. Okay, so Lou, can I have you here in front of the black background? Move forward. And then you find out which angle she prefers. If this is the angle she prefers, we would have our light put here on the other side. Okay? We are doing this because I personally like lighting the short side of the face. When you light the short side of the face, you are slimming her even more. Even though she's so thin already, you would want to look thinner also, right? So you want the side of the face here, and then you light it coming from here. So you start off normally by having it at 45 degrees. Okay? 45 degrees here, 45 degrees high. So use this one, tilt it down this way, and then bring up your flash. Okay? Cool. So that's your setup. So stay here. So before you even take a photo of her, you have to set your camera settings. Okay? So you put your camera on manual. You know, you're familiar with the exposure triangle, correct?
Yes.
Which is what?
Aperture,
shutter speed, and ISO. Shutter speed, I'll run you through it. The aperture controls your flash exposure. Your shutter speed controls your ambient exposure. Your ISO will control the sensitivity of the light, of your sensor to light. Okay? So with this particular case, when you're shooting portraits like this, you want everything to be pitch black. You don't want ambient light to be coming in. So now you set it first. So even without the flash, you turn off the flash, you dial in now your exposure to be able to get pitch black. Okay? Things to remember. Triggers like this, non-TTL triggers, have to be limited to the flash sync speed of the camera. Flash sync speed is basically the fastest that your shutter speed can go in order for it not to have any bandings. Bandings is when the second shutter is already closing and the flash pops, so you're going to get that black line on your images. So it's always safe if you're using a non-TTL or non-high speed sync trigger, you keep your flash sync speed below 1/160 or 1/160. So you start off with that. You put your camera on manual, put it at 1/160. Okay. So these cameras, the Sony mirrorless cameras, are equipped with live view. So no, go ahead here. Okay. Set your camera now on 1/160.
Yes,
160. That's 1/60. 160.
160, sorry.
All right, 160. Your ISO, put it at your lowest, because the lowest ISO will give you the best quality. So at 100 right now. So right, 100, 50 and 64 and 80. Those are computer generated low ISO. So your native low ISO is the one that doesn't have the bracket. So for this particular camera, it's 100. Now you're shooting at what aperture now?
1.4.
1.4. Can you still see her?
Almost.
Almost. So in order to totally kill the background light, maybe close your aperture a bit and put it there at 2.8. Best way to see it is to take a shot, but since we're doing live view, we have no problems. You could already see that you're not getting any ambient light, correct? So with this one now, with the Sony camera, since you're set on manual and you're on live view, you don't see anything, so how can you shoot? Right?
Yes.
So what you do is you turn off live view. Once you've dialed in your exposure, turn off live view. I've set it already here in custom function 1, but it's in the menu. All you have to do is turn on live view display and turn it off. Now you could see whatever it is that you're shooting. But this is your actual exposure.
Okay.
So any light that you're getting from the flash now. Okay? So there. Okay? Now, so you're set at 1/32 and take a test shot. Take one test shot and see. I would suggest you go to the menu system, click auto review, and put auto review so you could see it immediately.
Okay.
All right? Are you underexposed or overexposed? I think you're about a tad bit underexposed. When you're underexposed, okay, you've already set everything in your camera. You don't need to touch anything
the light,
there.
sorry.
So what can you touch?
Adjust the power.
Adjust the power of the what? The flash.
The flash.
So you're underexposed, so what do you do to your flash?
Give it more power.
Give it more power. So with this one, you just press A and then twist this one. You're at 132. What do you want to be? 116 maybe?
That's right.
Then let's try it at 116 and take one more shot. Talk to Lou.
Here, smile. Right here. The camera. I think it's better.
You think it's better now. So once you've gotten that dialed in, now all you have to do is fix the posing. I'm giving Jayzee the opportunity now to shoot by himself and practice this one light setup that we put here. So I'll just run through it again. Basically, I'm using an A7R Mark III with an 85-1.4 lens. My trigger is the Photix Odin 2, triggering the Photix LI60 flash with a Photix Premium 85 with a diffuser. And the light stand we're using is the Photix Padat 200 with a Photix backdrop. Yes, why is it all Photix? Because I am an international Photix pro. And I'm fortunate enough that they give me this materials for us to use. But by all means, this is not a paid advertisement of Photix. Remember, don't just keep shooting, post, talk, and build that rapport with the subject. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and till the next video.